Hi, my name is Chelsea. Before my life with Jesus, there's only one word that could describe my condition: lost. In college, I started hanging out with the wrong crowd and went down the wrong path. I became a hardcore partier. It was really rare for me to ever be sober. I was on a path of destruction, always looking for the next thrill. I never cared about who I would hurt along the way. While I was on that path, I met Brian. Brian was a good guy. He was not the kind of guy who ever partied or smoked or drank. He was just on a really good path. When Brian and I started to date, I put my desires and the need for constant thrill on a back burner. I think I wanted to change because I knew he wouldn't be interested in a girl like me, or someone who was going down the crazy path that I was. I was very confident that I could change myself. It sounded really easy, just to stop living the crazy life for somebody. I mean, if he could be really good, why couldn't I? At first, things weren't that bad, but then I started almost resenting him because I was unhappy and I was changing because of him. Look, it just wasn't me, and whenever you're not you, then things don't work out, and our relationship got rocky, and it finally just hit rock bottom. There was no more love, and there's no more companionship. So I found me some companionship, a guy I worked with. This guy seemed to be everything that I had felt like I was missing in my relationship, and then my old desires started coming back, and I felt like myself again. So it just happened. I cheated. And it was during this time that I was having fun and finding myself again that Brian decided to have a big come to Jesus moment. And I mean, Brian was on fire for Jesus, and he kept pushing Jesus on me, and I honestly just didn't want to hear it. And so what did I do? I went deeper and deeper into trying to find myself and trying to fill that void that I had. And you know what I started to discover? This other guy wasn't filling the void either. And that's when the train went off the track and Brian busted me. I was officially a cheater. Jesus says he's the kind of shepherd that will leave the flock of sheep just to go chase down the one that wanders off and gets lost. That's the kind of God that we have. After Brian found out about my cheating, he sat me down and told me I was the one that wandered off. Brian asked me to pray, so I did, but only with the intention just to tell him that I did it. But then it happened. In that prayer, I started to feel guilt and shame for everything that I'd done, and everything started to change, and I just cried. I asked God right then for forgiveness and for Jesus to just change me. And I wanted to change, just like I did before with Brian, but this time for Jesus, and it felt so much different. And Brian saw this, and he took me to Mission Church, and that first Sunday, I felt an overwhelming presence of God. The sermon that day was on Romans 7, which was absolutely everything that I'd been going through to a T. I felt like God was really just speaking to me, and Brian and I just looked at each other completely stunned. I repented and I believed, and I felt forgiveness and love and joy, and he started changing my desires, not for Brian or the coworker, but for God, because I now belong to him. Then I celebrated my new life with Jesus by getting baptized. So far, life with Jesus has been amazing. Brian and I forgave each other and reconciled, and we got married. And we have Jesus as the center of our relationship now, pursuing him together as one. And we joined a community group. It's been life-changing. Can you imagine never feeling alone? There are people that you meet on the same walk of life with you that you get to share that companionship with. It's loving and empathetic, and you have this trust with these other people. It's absolutely amazing. I still struggle with some of my old desires, and you will too. But if we look to Jesus to replace those old desires with new ones, he'll start to do that one by one. If you are in Christ, you are a new creation. Your old desires passed away, and new desires are coming. And this is my story of life with Jesus. My story isn't over. It's just beginning.